Okay, good morning. See, in the previous class, we are discussing about the embedded system hardware. In that, we have discussed about the bus technology, about the microcontroller, which the bus technology they used to use, and what has changed in the micro. Sorry, in the microprocessor, which bus technology they used to use, that is PCI, and what the technology they are going to use in the uh, microcontroller, that is on chip. What are the architecture levels, means what is the electrical characteristics, bus width, uh, or the protocol. We have seen the evolution of the protocol starting from 1996 AMBA, AMBA, how it has evolved. The ARM system bus was the next version, ARM peripheral bus. Then finally they have come up with the ARM high performance bus, which has so many advantages. Why is became a wide choice for everyone because of that plug and play interface. Everyone directly you can use it without the redesign of any architecture or an interface. It has a higher data throughput, and even you have a two versions in the AHB, that is multi-layer AHB and a single light AHB light. What was the difference between those was the multiple bus masters were there in the AHP light single bus master. If there is what is the advantage with the multiple bus master? Each bus master can initiate the data transfer. That is how you will get the higher throughput. That is what we discussed in the protocol, bus protocol. Next we have discussed the memory. Next we have discussed the memory. What is the types of memory? What all the characteristics we look into? What is the hierarchy? Then what is the width? What is the advantage we are going to get if you have a 16-bit memory and a 16-bit instruction? What is the advantage we'll get when it is a 32-bit memory and 32-bit instruction? That we have discussed in detail yesterday. And different types of memory, starting from the ROM, which it cannot be reprogrammed. Later flash ROM into picture, where you can both read and write. And after that DRAM, which is the most commonly used in all the RAMs. Even in our desktop, in my laptop, we can see the DRAM, which is less costlier than the SRAM. The static RAM, which is so faster, which requires more silicon, and also it doesn't require refreshing, which is a costlier one. And they use this SRAM to design the cache memory, which is expensive, which is costlier. And also you have one more option, synchronous dynamic RAM is there. Even this is also a best option for the RAMs, which runs at the higher clock speed. The next comes the peripherals. Hey, can you hear everyone? Are you able to hear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Someone has sent the attendance like present. Please don't send the attendance as present. USN followed by name you have to send. Forgot how to send the attendance. Who is this? You cannot see the. Okay. Hmm. See, the next is the in the embedded system hardware. Other than the bus, other than the memory, you have one more hardware in the diagram. What you have seen is peripherals. If you see that diagram, where is that diagram? Hmm. See, this is a bus. This is bus, and this is a memory controller. There is a memories. RAM will be there. Other than that, there are peripherals which are being connected. Even that is an hardware. Even that is an hardware in the embedded system. See, why we need these peripherals? Any microcontroller, if it wants to communicate, with the outside world. Any input, if you want to give it to the microcontroller as a system or as a human being, if I have to give any input to the embedded system, you need a peripheral device, or else you cannot. There will no interface for to send the input or you see the output. That is why peripherals are required to communicate. All these peripherals, they are all memory mapped. Memory map means this address of these registers, that address of the registers, inside there will be a registers that will become an offset from the specific peripheral base address. See, in this peripherals, it is nothing but an extra devices that we are going to connect, where you send the inputs and you will get the output. This will be very unique. It is based on the application, the peripherals we are going to connect, and not all the slots will be available in the microcontroller. It is based on the application. If it is for oven, different peripherals. For washing machine, it's a different. For mobile phone, it is different. For any other device, it is different. In this, there are specialized peripherals are there, that is controllers. They have some work. A specialized peripherals are there. They are called as controllers. There are two controllers. One is memory controller and one more is interrupt controller. What is this memory controller is? See, there is a memory. Whether there is a single memory? No, there are multiple memories. ROM is there, RAM is there, flash RAM, it can be SRAM, DRAM, so many types of RAMs are there. All the RAMs, if it wants to be active, someone has to inform. All the memory devices, if it wants to be active, it has to be informed. When you power up, when you switch on, who is going to do that? That will be done by the microcontroller. That microcontroller hardware, what it's do is, whenever you switch on the system, that microcontroller job is, it is going to activate all the memory devices which are connected. In that way, it will be configured in the hardware. After that, what the memory devices will do? They will allow the initiation code to be executed. Boot code will be executed. It is not all the memory devices, not all the memory devices in the system will be enabled by the hardware. Some of the are set up or they are activated by the software also. The job of the memory controller is, it is going to activate all the memory devices, because that memory devices, it has to do some task. After that, it has to load the operating system and then it has to start the work. ಈಗ ನೀವು ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣನೇ ಈ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಡಿವೈಸಸ್ಗಳು ಆಕ್ಟಿವೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಯಾರೋ ಒಬ್ರು ಅದ್ರ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಗರ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಆ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಗರ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಯಾರು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲರ್. ಅದೊಂದು ಹಾರ್ಡ್ವೇರ್, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಗರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅವಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಡಿವೈಸಸ್ಗಳು ಆಕ್ಟಿವೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೇ ತರ ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಡಿವೈಸಸ್ ಒಂದೆರಡು ಇರ್ತವೆ, ಅದು ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ ಇಂದನೇ ನೀವು ಸೆಟಪ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ರಿಫ್ರೆಶ್ ರೇಟ್, ಎಷ್ಟು ಸೆಕೆಂಡಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕ್ಲಾಕ್ ಸೈಕಲ್ಸ್ಗೆ ರಿಫ್ರೆಶ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಡೇಟಾ, ಆ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಟೈಮಿಂಗ್ಸ್, ಆ ತರ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಸೆಟಪ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿರುತ್ತೆ. This is one microcontroller. One more peripheral is there, interrupt controller. This is also an hardware. In the diagram, you have seen the interrupt controller. Idiya diagram or interrupt controller? Yes, there is an interrupt controller in that diagram also. What is the role of this interrupt controller is, this is an also the device. What this peripheral is do is, it will wait for the any device to send the interrupt. Interrupt andre ಏನು? What is the interrupt? Can anyone answer quickly? Interrupt andre ಏನು? Skanda GN. Are you there, Skanda? Skanda. Oh. Electrical signals. Well, you are talking about all the physical characteristics. It is in if you open the system and if you check, everything is a signal. I'm asking about what is that interrupt is all about. Skandaji and Ilva, USN 98. Are you there? Ah, very good. Yes, this is an answer. See, it's a request. It's a request to the processor by an hardware. It's a request. Who has answered? Someone has answered. Oh, Parvati also answered. And also one more. Yes, Shreyas. Yes, good. Shreyas and Parvati. See this, it is just a request from the hardware. It needs something. That is why it is requesting the processor. When it requests, then who is going to listen first is the interrupt controller. Interrupt controller knows how to get the request from the hardware and it has to inform the processor. What is the next thing the processor will do is, the processor, it is going to take that request and it will inform to execute the interrupt handler. Interrupt handler is, it is a program, some set of instruction. That set of instructions, it has to execute. Then that will be the service for that hardware. That is what it is expecting. Some hardware is expecting is, some hardware what it is expecting is some set of program it has to be executed, which is called as interrupt handler. ಅದೊಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ interrupt handler ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಈ ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಬಂದಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸರ್ ರೀಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ಇಂಟರಪ್ಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಲರ್ ನ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದರದ್ದು ಜಾಬ್, ಅದರದ್ದು ಕೆಲಸ ಏನ್ ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. That is what it is to be. That is the single, or it is all about the interrupt and interrupt handler. Whenever this interrupt has been raised, all the which is the first device which is going to see is this interrupt controller. There is a set of policies there, a programmable policy is there, that it is know which device has raised the interrupt and which you have to service. In that interrupt controller also there are two types. One is standard interrupt is there, another one is vector interrupt controller. What is the standard interrupt controller is, whenever the any hardware has sent the signal to the processor core, if it is a standard interrupt controller, what the control it has is, it can service, means send that request to the processor, or else it can ignore or mask, means it is going to ignore that interrupt. It is not going to service. Even though the hardware request, it is not going to service. That is the power which is given to standard interrupt controller. It can ignore or it can service. But one more is there, this vector interrupt controller, VIC, the second one. What this vector interrupt controller will do is, it is going to see the devices, which device has sent and what is the priority of that interrupt. Always there is a number will be given for each interrupt. If there is only one interrupt, then it is going to service. If there are multiple interrupts from different devices, it is going to check the priorities of the interrupts. If one interrupt has a higher priority, that will be service first. After that, the next one. One more case. There is one interrupt that is being executed, and there is a one more request, one more interrupt has been raised, which has a higher priority. In that case, we are going to stop and we're going to execute the interrupt which has a higher priority. That is also possible. That is this case. Which one? VIC, this vector interrupt controller. Based on the priority, it is going to execute this interrupts. These are these two types. These are the interrupt controller and memory controller. They are the specialized peripherals. Whether it is only hardware will be there in the embedded system. In that embedded system means it is a hardware and the software. Till now we have discussed the embedded system hardware, memory, peripherals, bus, all those things. The next thing we are discussing is software. What are all the softwares which are there inside the embedded system? Without the software, you cannot drive the hardware. You can see this layer here, the software abstraction layer. On top of that, application is there. Application is nothing but, see, in the microcontroller, there will be a display, right, to see some messages. In the micro oven, you will have a display where you can enter something, or you can see the output. Or in the Xerox machine, you will have a display there. How many copies you have to give, what is the size, everything, some display is there, right? That is an application. Below that, there is an operating system. Below that, there is a device drivers, and then the hardware devices. See, we have to discuss these three things: application, the operating system, and this initialization code. See, these are the main four typical software components for any embedded device. Mainly, there is an boot code. I think you know the boot code. Yesterday, I was telling about the ROM. What is the use of ROM? There is a code which it cannot be reprogrammed. That is why we have kept that code inside the ROM. But what type of code we will store is boot code, which is called as initialization code. What is the role of that initialization code is, whenever you switch on the system, not directly operating system gets loaded into the ROM. ನೀವು ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣನೇ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಯಾವ್ದು ಸಿ ಡ್ರೈವ್ ಡಿ ಡ್ರೈವ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವುದು ವಿಂಡೋಸ್ 10 ಅಥವಾ ಲೈನೆಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್, ಅದು ತಕ್ಷಣ ರ್ಯಾಮಿಗೆ ಲೋಡ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾರು ಅದನ್ನ ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದು? ಹೂ ಇಸ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಲೋಡ್ that is boot code, which is called as initialization code. ಆ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಸಪರೇಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. that will be a separate code that will be stored in the ROM. What is that boot code it is going to do? ಆ ROM ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತ initialization code ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? What is the job of that? Can anyone say what it is going to do? ನಿಮಗೆ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ? Okay. It program locates and loads OS to the memory. Okay, before this is the final job. Bootstrap program locates and loads OS to the memory. Yes, Parvati, yes, it is correct. That is the final task. That is the last step. Before that, it is going to do some other thing. Initiates Bootstrap, checks all the components and load OS. It helps the computer prepare for system for loading and running an operating system. No. What it is going to do is, it is going to set up the first target platform. That code, initialization code, it is going to set up the target platform where that operating system gets loaded into the memory. It is going to set up how much space is required, where it should come, everything. It is going to set up the target platform. A code yen barbeku antiruttala, that code, which is called as an, no, it is not initialized registers, no. It is going to set up the target platform where, so that you can easily boot an image. This entire operating system, that's an entire operating system, that code, that will be stored as an image. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ವರ್ಡ್ ನಾವು ಇಮೇಜ್ ಅಂತ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಅಥವಾ ಬೇರೆ ಏನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. We say the operating system image. That operating system image, it has to be loaded into the RAM. After that only you can start. For that, a target platform that will be set. That is the first step. say initial hardware configuration that will be done. Second step, diagnostics. What is the diagnostic is? It is going to check all the hardwares which are connected, RAM, ROM, the keyboard or internal processor. So many hardwares are there, whether they are in the working state. It is going to test once. If you want to really check this, what you can do is, if some hardware which is in the working state, if you replace that with a hardware which has some problem, then you click on the power button. Then you will hear the one beep sound. Based on the beep sound, the number of beep sound, you should understand that which hardware is in problem state. There is a count of beeps for each different hardware. ಈಗ ರ್ಯಾಮ್ ಯಾವ್ದಾರ ಹಾಳಾಗಿದ್ರೆ 3 ಸಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಯಾವ್ದಾರ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ವೇರ್ ಹಾಳಾಗಿದ್ರೆ 2 ಸಲಿ ಬೀಪ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಒಂದೇ ಸಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ದಿ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಬೀಪ್ ಸೌಂಡ್. ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಸಮ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ವೇರ್. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಕೋಡ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಕೋಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಬೂಟ್ ಕೋಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಥಿಂಗ್, ಡಯಾಗ್ನೋಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್. The third one, finally, what is the second step? It is fault identification in any hardware. If all the hardwares are in working state, the third step is, it is going to load that image. A code iruttala, adana image anta kariyodu. Load that image into the RAM and it handovers the control to the operating system. Operating system next kelsa, boot kelsa mugitu, ಆ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಕೋಡ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮುಗೀತು. ಇನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಂಗಿರುತ್ತೋ ಆ ತರ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. That is the job of the initialization code, boot code. I think it is very clear what is the role of this boot code. Boot ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಕೋಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಇಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಏನಾದ್ರೆ ಬೀಪ್ ಸೌಂಡ್ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ, OS ಲೋಡ್ ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ವೇರ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. Do you have any doubts in this? ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ಸ್. ಯಾವ್ದಾರ ಕಂಪ್ನಿಗೆ ಹೋದ್ರು ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಈ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಬೂಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಬೂಟ್ ಲೋಡರ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. Okay, see, what is the first step is, which is also called as grub loader or the boot code. That boot code, it will be in separate device called as ROM. ಆ ಕೋಡ್ ಸಪರೇಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಪದೇ ರೀಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಒಂದ್ಸಲಿ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ರಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ROM, ರೀಡ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಮೆಮೊರಿ, which is also called as firmware ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಇನಿಷಿಯಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಕೋಡ್, boot code or firmware. This is the name which is going to be given. What is that it is going to do is, first step is, it is going to initialize the hardware configuration ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಏನ್ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ವೇರ್ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಗರೇಷನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಬಂದು RAM ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲೋಡ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ ಪ್ಲಾಟ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್. There it is going to first set up how much space is required, where it should get loaded, all those things it is going to configure. Hardware configuration, ಆ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಕೋಡ್ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇನಿಷಿಯಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಬೂಟ್ ಕೋಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಆ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಕೋಡ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಇಮೇಜ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂತಿರೋದು. That is the first step. The second step is, once all the target platform is configured, the next step is, it is going to check all the hardwares which are there on the motherboard, like the RAM, like other ROMs or any clock, or so many hardware components are there on the motherboard. Everything it is going to check whether they are in the working state. If there is any problem, you will hear the beep sound. Based on the number of beep sound, you can identify which hardware has a problem. There can be a single, there can be 2, 3 beep sound. Based on that, you have to identify which hardware there is a problem. Finally, second step is fault identification and isolation. This step is called as diagnostics. If everything goes fine, the next thing is, in the memory, in the secondary memory, C drive ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ, from there that code has to be loaded into the RAM. RAM ಗೆ ಬಂದು ಲೋಡ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು, ಆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಬಂದು ಲೋಡ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಲೋಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಿಮ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಏನ್ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅದ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್. ಮೀನ್ಸ್ initialization boot code, it gives the control to the operating system in the third stage. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ತನ್ನ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. That is the job of the boot code. Have you understood 3 steps? Initial hardware configuration, diagnostics, and the third step is booting. ಈಗ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ, ಈ ಬೂಟಿಂಗು ಇದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋವರೆಗೂ ಇದು ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಮರ್ತ್ ಬಿಟ್ರಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವತ್ತು ಮರ್ತ್ ಬಿಟ್ರಿ. Then operating system. The next part is operating system. Boot code ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ಮೇಲೆ next operating system ಇರಲೇಬೇಕು. See, this operating system, what we see in my desktop, it is Windows 10. What you see in your mobile, it is Android OS, the version is 11. What we see in the embedded system, that is different. ಅದೇ operating system ಇರಲ್ಲ. There are so many operating system are there in the market. Even the ARM microprocessors, it will support 50 operating system. See, this operating system, it's a very big code, very huge code, millions of lines will be there, the code. But when it comes to the embedded system, that size will be very less. That size, it will be very less. Mainly, there are 2 types of operating system. One is real-time operating system. Another one is platform operating system. See, what we see in the Linux operating system, that is called as a platform operating system. Then which is called this is real-time operating system. See, real-time operating systems are where whenever you design that operating system, there should be a guaranteed response time to the events. If I click something, in seconds, I want the response. There should be 100% response is there. Response should be there. And also, there should not be any delay. And there is no compromise on the response time. It cannot take from 5 seconds. After that, it can give. See, the examples of this real-time operating system is airline in the air traffic control system. The flights which are going to, in the flights, they are going to see the direction. There, if they will have their separate operating system. ಈ ಫ್ಲೈಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಏನು ಅಂತ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾಂಪ್ರಮೈಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದ್ 5 minutes ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಮಗೆ ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಒಂದು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಕ್ರಾಶ್ ಆಗೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ಸಮ್ ಅದರ್ ರೀಸನ್ಸ್. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೈ the air control or the air tickets booking, everything it should be on time. That is why real time operating system they are going to use. There is no compromise in the response time. In that also there are 2 types real time operating system: hard real time and soft real time. In hard real time, 100% guaranteed response should be there. There is no chance of delay. But in the soft real-time operating system, some delay are allowed, but there should be a response. Some delay are allowed, but there should be a response. 2 types: hard real-time application and soft real-time application. Finally, this RTOS, it should be a very quick response. Means always we will have there will be no secondary storage. Here, everything it will be handled in the primary storage itself. It should be very fast, right? Everything it will be handled in the primary storage itself. But platform operating system like us, Linux operating system or any other Windows, where the delay or we are going to accept, and it has so much of job to manage large real-time, non-real-time applications. That is why in this platform operating system, you will have a secondary storage. Here, the space is also required. Even we are going to accept the delays. ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಲೇನ ನಾವು ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತೀವಿ. ಈ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ವಿಂಡೋಸ್ 10 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಲಿ ಲೈನೆಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಲಿ. ಅದೇ ಫ್ಲೈಟ್ ಡ್ರೈವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರಕರೆ ಅಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಲೇ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳಕ್ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. That is one case, real time operating system, and another one is platform operating system. These are the two types. It is based on the requirement. The operating system will be chosen in the embedded system. One more thing is, other than this hardware, sorry, embedded software operating system, you will have the application on top of that. Till now what we have seen, boot code, initialization code. On top of the initialization code, operating system is there. On top of the operating system, applications are there. What is this applications? This application is the interface what we see. See, this ARM processor, where you can directly see now is, even if you have the home gateways or DSL router or the modems are there for high speed internet communication in your home, if you have a router, inside that there is a ARM processor. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೇಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲರ ರೂಟರ್ ಅಥವಾ ಮಾಡಮ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ARM ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸರ್. ವೈರ್ಲೆಸ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್ ಇಗೂ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ದಿಸ್ ARM ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸರ್. There will be a separate devices. In the mobile devices, you will also, it supports ARM processor. ಹಿಂದೆ ನೀವು ಸೋನಿ ಎರಿಕ್ಸನ್ ಅಂತ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಬರ್ತಿತ್ತು, ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ARM ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು. And also in the previous class I have told you which is the latest version, Cortex V82. Even the hard drives are there, right? Storage devices, mass storage devices. What we see there, inside that there is a ARM processor. ಈಗ ನೀವು ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ಡ್ರೈವ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ, ಮೂವಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ, ಸಾಂಗ್ಸ್ ಫೋಟೋ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ, ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ARM ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸರ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ ದ ಪ್ರಿಂಟರ್ಸ್, inkjet printers, you can see this ARM processor. If you require very high performance, there you cannot use this ARM processor because the cost will become very high. The cost will become very high. That is why you cannot see, if the leading edge high performance is required, then you cannot find the ARM processor in that applications. That is all the first chapter is about. In the next chapter, we are going to discuss about the ARM processor fundamentals. What ARM processor fundamental means? What is the inside the real ARM processor? See, in the previous class we have discussed, other than the ARM processor, so many hardwares are there. Now we will directly see ARM core. If you have not sent the attendance, please send. You have another 2 minutes. In the next class we will discuss this ARM core. After that we discuss how many registers are there. See, these many register, R0 to R12, R13, R14, R15, these many registers are there. What is the program status registers? Everything we are going to discuss. Feel free to ask any doubts, or else if you don't have any doubts, I think you can exit. We'll join once again in the next class. Thank you. If you have any doubts, you can join once again to the meeting, and I'm going to clear. If you have any doubts, you can ask, or else you can ask it in the group also. No doubts? Okay, you can exit.